All right, it's bourbonblog.com. We are here live with Matt Wilson, Senior Brand Manager of Macanudo. And we love pairings here. We have a great pairing lined up. We're going to talk about the Macanudo Emissary France, which I'm smoking, Matt's smoking. How's it going, Matt?
Things are good, Tom. Thanks for having me here. In addition to the cigars, of course, had to return the favor with a little bit of bourbon. So cheers.
Cheers, my friend. Good to see you as always.
Yeah, thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. As we pair the Emissary France with, actually, I wanted to do something that had a touch of France in it. It is the Bhakta Spirits Hogsworth, which is a blend of some bourbon, which is about 4 and 5 years old, with Armagnac that dates back to 2013, 14, and even a little bit of 1982 Armagnac in it. And it's a really special spirit. The average age of the spirits are about 9.3 years old. Drink's a little older. We'll see how it pairs up here in a moment to give you that French touch. But, I love all things French. And, of course, I love Macanudo. This has some French tobacco in it.
Yes, it does. And it's nice that you kind of shared, by the way, thank you. Likewise,
yes.
Very appropriate, France. But you just rattling off how the different ages within the Hogsworth kind of mirrors pretty well with Emissary France. So main thing, kind of the start of the show, is we got some French tobacco, actually grown in an area of France called Mugron, which is southern France, just south of Bordeaux, and near the Spanish border. And we have a lot of aged tobaccos in it. Overall, it's a 5-country blend, starting with a 10-year age Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, which really gives it a refined taste. And then we added a 10-year aged U.S. broadleaf binder. And then within the fillers, you got the French tobacco, which is aged 4 years. And then you got a few other things, such as 7-year Brazilian tobacco, broadleaf again, that's 8 years, and then Dominican Floto Cabano, 10 years. So a lot of mix in here. Again, France is sort of the unique thing with this, but we wanted to really make sure that this paired well and France could kind of be the star of the show. So the aged tobaccos was really the best offering we could have with refinement.
These aged tobaccos are really coming through. You can really taste the nuances on this, just like you can on a nice aged spirit as they come together. There's a lot of beauty, a lot of complexity. I was such a big fan as the Emissary España came out last year. And that was, of course, had some tobacco from Spain. This one has tobacco from France. The Emissary is all about really a travel, a journey through different countries and climates and places.
Yeah, that's pretty much, Emissary, the whole series. We started last year, as you mentioned, with the first release, which was Emissary España, Spain, which featured a Spanish tobacco grown in the western part of Spain in the area called Rio Lobos, not too far from Portugal. And really kind of to back up, fortunately with Macanudo, we have a lot of resources and we have a whole team dedicated to experimenting with different tobaccos, playing around with, hey, what could grow where? What's this like? And fortunately, Europe was an area that has some tobacco history, but you don't really see it too much these days in the cigar industry. Typically find the tobaccos in more of the New World area, right? Western Hemisphere, Central America, Dominican, etc. But fortunately, we had a team that was able to try out different tobaccos from various parts of the world, and we really liked the Spanish one. And we had a few others, France being another candidate. And we thought it would be a good opportunity to really kind of showcase, what Europe can kind of bring, really give a unique taste and profile that cigar smokers likely haven't had before. So that's really what the Emissary line's about, a focus on Europe and then really coming up with a sophisticated smoking experience.
This is, and really it is. And as we've always loved all the Macanudos, from the Cafe to the M series, all the different ones that you've done, this one really takes it in a whole new direction. And how have Macanudo fans responded, and how is it different?
Yeah, so it is been very well received. I think we were even pleasantly surprised at how well España took off. We debuted that at the big cigar trade show, PCA, last year, and it was a huge hit. Folks were like, hey, this is something different about this cigar. So that really created a lot of buzz. And then as far as Emissary France goes, particularly this size, the Churchill, just received a 93 from Cigar Aficionado. So very proud of that. So getting a lot of good play there. Overall, people have been very open to it, and we even hear, anecdotally, guys who may not have smoked Macanudo typically, gave this a shot and were really pleasantly surprised by it.
Right. Yeah, well, it's beautiful. And you have several different sizes. You have a Churchill, you have a Perfecto in this one as well?
Yeah, so the Churchill, which we have here, is our longest cigar, but then we have a Perfecto, to your point, and then a Robusto and Toro as well. So 4 sizes in all.
Beautiful. And really, and I love the España, the dry notes, really the nice crisp notes. This has some really deep chocolate notes. I mean, you really think about, when you think about French cuisine, what makes France stand apart on cuisine, and you think about what you carry through in the tobacco, there's some wonderful cocoa nibs. There's some great fruit, almost some raspberry sort of notes that are underneath this. And I think that plays so nicely as I'm tasting this. Of course, some of this, a good part of it being the Armagnac with those berry with the grape notes that have those berry notes that come through with that older Armagnac, really this just beautiful old warehouse note that I get on the Hogsworth. What do you get on the, first of all, on the cigar, and then let's talk about the pairing.
Yeah, so I'd say similar things. I'm always a little hesitant to tell someone, "Oh, you're going to taste this and that," because it's subjective, right? What you drank or ate before, and just how your palate is. For me, I get a bit of that dried fruit, so I think similar to what you noticed. A little bit of that chocolate as well. Slight sweetness. I don't get much spice in this. This is a very smooth smoke, but overall, I'd say medium-bodied, but nice and balanced. Very pleasant, but it's got enough depth to it, in my opinion, where you wouldn't just consider it a very mild cigar. There's a lot under the hood here.
There really is a lot of depth, a lot of really pops. The more you get into it, the more it pops out. Those chocolate notes, those deeper notes, very smooth. Do you find people are surprised whenever you tell them, "Hey, there's this wonderful old tobacco in France"? I mean, is that something that surprises some American cigar smokers?
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those that you just don't think about France or maybe much of Europe as far as cigar tobacco. Obviously, Europe has a lot of history in tobacco, but again, you don't really see that too much these days. So when we kind of share that with people, it definitely strikes a curiosity. Like, I never French tobacco in a cigar. What's that like? So definitely sparks a curiosity. Again, I think it was very important. We tried a variety of different blends with the French tobacco to see what could help bring that out, but also be complemented well. And that's really where the 10-year age tobaccos come in with the binder, one of the fillers, and the wrapper. But overall, yeah, people get pleasantly surprised, or at least enough curiosity and intrigue to want to give it a shot.
I love that you have so many different tobaccos to choose from. You call it the Mugron Valley? Is that where it comes from?
Yes.
Mugron Valley. What make the tobaccos, and you touched on it briefly earlier, but what make those really different? I mean, with the terroir.
Yeah, so just like with bourbon and all of that, you definitely think about soils and wine and coffee, all those different categories we love. What do the soils bring, the nutrients, what's the climate like, all of that kind of plays a role. So what's unique about Mugron is you have, the Mediterranean not too far away. So you got a little bit of that ocean breeze that kind of plays a part in there. And then you also have not too far away some of the crops that are grown not too far from wine country as well with Bordeaux. So kind of those similar traits that go into wine kind of play a role. And sometimes you don't even really know what it's going to yield until you grow it. So it was a pleasant surprise to be able to see that this kind of bore some fruit in terms of some potential for a full-time release.
Truly did, and those older tobaccos are so beautiful. This is not, when it comes to older tobaccos, for a lot of what you all have produced, this is not something you see every day as older tobaccos up to 10 years like this, is it?
No, you really don't. It's something that this day and age, not every cigar company is able to do, to hold, inventory and, be patient. But luckily we had a lot of stores and, a little bit of the foresight, even though 10 years ago, we certainly didn't think the Ecuadorian Habano was going to go into an Emissary France or be tied to a French tobacco. But that's part of the fun of it, is just being able to be patient, see what it yields, just like with bourbon and whiskey. I know you're very familiar, and then see what it yields. So luckily, we were able to have enough stores of that to make this a full-time release.
Yes, I love those older tobaccos. Of what happens to the flavor is so delicate, complex. What do you taste as you taste those older tobaccos? What do you get on those? And how did this whole thing come about? What did the panel taste on those older tobaccos as they built this?
Yeah, so in general, I'd say when you are aging tobaccos, it brings out more of the flavor. You kind of get rid of some of the minerally taste that you might get if you just smoked a cigar right off the line. You want it to kind of settle and have those things dissipate, ammonia, all those things that go into cigar storage. And then the other flavors are, ideally, they kind of come out a bit. So, with this, definitely we wanted to have a pleasant, smooth smoking experience, but have enough body and depth. So as we experimented with things, the Ecuadorian Habano is just a nice, smooth base. We wanted to add a little bit of the broadleaf for a slight kick. And then Brazilian tobacco too offers its own little trade. So I want to say there was multiple blends. I can recall at least 5 candidates or variation of this French tobacco. Multiple ones were good, but this is really what we wanted to settle on. And we also wanted to think about how it complements with the España line. España has a little bit more of a spice to it, a little more kick. So as we think about it being kind of a family and sitting side by side, how do those two kind of work together? So that was kind of the lens we took as we were evaluating what is that final Emissary France blend.
With spirits, when they age, and again, just about 5% of this is 42-year-old. The rest ranges 11, 13, 4 and 5-year-old. Again, comes together, and the average age, as it says on the label, is about 9.3 years old. To me, I really get on this something that tastes like it could be 15 years plus. And I love the fact that this bottle is just about $50 a bottle. It's such a special blend. No one's ever done anything like it until Bhakta did it. It's a blend of bourbon and Armagnac. So you don't really call it a whiskey or an Armagnac. You just call it a blend, and it's such a beautiful spirit. But those older spirits, whether it's bourbon or whether it's Armagnac, especially bourbon that's aged in Kentucky or anywhere in the Midwest, they lose some to the angel share, right? The barrel, it's being depleted, and that's what you want to happen, of course, as everyone knows, because it's traveling in and out of the barrels. When you age tobacco for that long, I know the aging process is very different, but do you lose anything? Is there any loss? Is there anything that, as tobacco ages, that gets damaged and you have to throw some out, or what does that look like when aging tobacco?
Yeah, so I think there's a bit of it depends on if you have a final cigar and then you age it. A lot of people do that as long as you have the right conditions, the temperature, humidity. In general, that can kind of bring out more of the flavor, but you eventually get to a point where, hey, we're talking 10 years, talking gold cigar, you'd start to maybe lose a little bit of that flavor.
Right.
But before that, when we're talking about the individual tobaccos, it really depends how it's stored. Some of the things we've done in the past are, of course, barrel aging, whether it's with bourbon or wine barrels, it can kind of soak up more of that flavor, or the oak that's in part of the barrel. Dominican Republic, for example, they do a thing called tercios bales where they kind of wrap it in palm bark. So there's a variety of different ways that it kind of works out. But in general, yeah, you could hold on to tobaccos for a long time, proper storage, and just in general, you'd expect it to bring out a little bit more character, a little more flavor, not necessarily in a strong way, but it just kind of mellows out sort of the things that, kind of get in the way at the beginning if you were to just try to smoke a cigar fresh off the line.
Incredible. And you're not losing any or very much at all like we lose in whiskey and spirits, but you're just gaining flavor, which is wonderful that you have that. No, this is so good. So what I always recommend is, like you're doing, take a sip of the spirit. Whoever is, as you're watching this, no matter what you're trying from Macanudo, you take a sip of the spirit or the whiskey. Let that really coat the palate. You have a little of the cigar, and you really see what you're getting. And I'm really getting those berry notes, that chocolate. Even though not a lot of spice to the cigar, for this particular pairing, I think that there's a little spice that
I agree.
Yeah, that the Hogsworth does lend to it. and it really is just very enjoyable. I could see this being paired with so many spirits, maybe even some wine. I know it's
I think
since
some
you're
wine
near
too.
Bordeaux is near where this comes from. What have you tried pairing with this in the past?
I've done a couple of just reds. I think it was more out of convenience. That's kind of what I had around me. But Pinot and Cabernet, and I thought that worked well. I feel like this is pretty flexible, but for me personally, I kind of liked it with a red. Um, but in general, just what you said, pairing it with the Hogsworth there, that was an awesome sensation. Yeah, definitely spice came out in a pleasant way, and then I think just the aged elements in the whiskey combined with the aged elements of the cigar really felt nice. It was a good compliment.
I'm glad you like it, Matt. I do too. Do I pick up just maybe a touch of a saltiness that comes from the tobacco in this?
Yeah,
Beautiful
slightly.
way that it's just like a creamy saltiness almost.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. Actually, on the box that we have here, we actually have a little description and story, about where it's grown and all of that. And we didn't want to be too prescriptive because everyone has different perceptions on what they taste. But we did know, hey, you might get a little bit of light salt and then the dried fruit as well. So yes, salt is definitely there, but in a pleasant way.
So beautiful. This is delicious. I really appreciate the chance to chat with you about the Macanudo Emissary France, and I know a lot more to come. Anything you can even gently tease forward to on what's ahead on Macanudo?
Yeah, well, thank you again, Tom. This has been great.
Yeah,
it's good to catch up. It's been a little while. I know had this on the books for a bit, so I'm glad we could make it happen.
Me too.
But as far as Macanudo goes, we're going to be at Big Smoke, which is Halloween weekend in Las Vegas. That is the big, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, kind of cigar consumer event put on by Cigar Aficionado. So we'll be there, and we'll be sampling out Emissary France. Again, CA gave us a 93, which we're very grateful for, and want to be able to share that with more people. So definitely, if you're in the area, Big Smoke, Las Vegas, we'll be there. We'd love to be able to share some Emissary France with you all.
Absolutely. We'll see you there, and congrats on everything you're doing with Macanudo, and cheers, my friend.
Cheers, Tom. This was fun. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And again, if you haven't tried it, look for the Macanudo Emissary France, and also look for the Emissary España. These are full-time releases. Fans, enthusiasts should be able to find them, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Excellent. Price point on those typically?
Yeah, so as you might be able to imagine, kind of using some rare tobaccos and having aged tobaccos, this is more on the premium end for us. So starting with the Robusto, it's $14.99, Toro $15.99, Churchill $16.99, and then our Perfecto is $17.99. So $15 to $18. Definitely more on the premium end, but I think with the smoking experience, the uniqueness there, folks so far appreciated it for what it is there.
Yes, it's a great price point. Really, it is, because what you have here is so unique, so premium, and with these aged tobaccos, this is something you don't see every day. So I'm a big fan of what you're doing.
Awesome. Thank you again, Tom.
Cheers, my friend. Thank you.